I built a parlay with total odds of 107. Let's break it down. First parlay, first pick, Senegal versus Iraq. Here I found a very strong option for the safe parlay and separately a juicy wild pick at a solid price. In my opinion, this is one of those matches where both teams have underperformed so far. But this is still their last chance to save something and maybe sneak into the playoffs through third place. Let me explain why I see this exact scenario. Senegal have honestly been disappointed. Yes, on paper, the results against France and Norway looked respectable, but in reality, their defense has been cracking badly. 6 goals conceded in 2 matches is way too much for a squad with this kind of talent. What's especially surprising is how inconsistent Koulibaly has looked and how often the team loses structure after turnovers. But offensively, there is still a lot of quality. 3 goals scored, dangerous transitions, Jackson, Sarr, Idrissa, the tools are there. Please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Here you'll find truly deep and sharp football analysis. Thanks, let's keep going. Iraq also lost both matches, but that was much more expected. 1-4 against Norway and 0-3 against France. Against Norway, at least they managed to fight back a bit, but against France, they had no chance at all. One thing is very clear with Iraq. They hold up until the opponent suddenly increases the pace. Once the tempo rises, their defense starts collapsing. And that's the key story here. Senegal need a win, and ideally a convincing one. They know goal difference could matter. That means there is no sitting back or slowing things down. From the first minute they will attack, overload the wings and apply pressure. Iraq, despite their organization, usually crack under constant pressure like this, but I'm not expecting a brutal blowout. Senegal are too unstable at the back themselves to fully rule out conceding. Iraq could steal one through a set piece or counterattack, but overall the African side is simply stronger almost everywhere. That's why for the safe parlay I am taking Senegal to win plus under 5.5. Senegal should take this, but I don't see a crazy 5-2 type of game. For the wild parlay, 1x plus BTTS at 2.25 looks very nice. Guys, here's my Telegram and my stats. I work as transparently and honestly as possible. I even pay taxes as an individual entrepreneur. I am one of the few in this space who actually works openly and fairly. The link is in the description below. First parlay, second pick, Norway versus France. Here I found a very strong safe parlay option and a juicy wild pick at sweet odds. In my humble opinion, this is one of the most interesting matches of the round. Both teams have already secured qualification, but first place is still on the line, which means there is no real reason to park the bus. Let me explain. Norway are doing exactly what we expected stylistically. First 4-1 against Iraq, then 3-2 against Senegal, 7 goals in 2 games, Haaland already has 4, Odegaard keeps delivering, and the whole team plays direct and aggressive football. But their defense is far from perfect. They concede regularly, leave spaces, and often expose themselves after losing possession. France under Deschamps know how to control games, but even they looked more open than usual. They beat Senegal 3-1 and Iraq 3-0, but if you look deeper, the first half against Senegal was shaky. Mbappé just turned it on later and changed everything. Up front, France alone. Mbappé, Alisse, Dembélé, Barcola. Pace, verticality, finishing, but at the back they still have gaps, especially against teams who move the ball quickly. And here is the key point. Norway are perfectly built to hurt France. They have Haaland, who thrives in open games like this. Odegaard can explode those half spaces between the lines, and France sometimes allow exactly that. With no huge tournament pressure, they should help the attacking players even more. Neither side will want to play too cautiously. France want to finish top, Norway know how they can make a statement. And when you have Haaland and Mbappé on the pitch, a dry game feels very unlikely. That's why for the safe parlay I am taking Norway to score. They look too sharp in attack to go blind. For the wild parlay, 1-2 plus BTTS at 2.34 looks perfect. Guys, for high odds parlays, I don't like risking my main bankroll. Odds above 2 are always risky, so I prefer using welcome bonuses from partners. I registered, made the minimum deposit, got 5 bonus activations and used each one on a separate parlay. If it lands, the bonus multiplies into my main bankroll. If not, I don't touch my real money. The partner is official and reliable. Bonus details are in a pinned Telegram message. Let's keep going. Second parlay, first pick, Turkey versus USA. Here I found a very interesting option for the stake parlay and a juicy wild pip with strong odds. In my humble opinion, this is one of those matches where tournament motivation is less important, but those often bring the craziest outcomes. Let me explain. Turkey are probably the biggest disappointment of this World Cup. Under Montella, they don't look dead in terms of play, but the stats are shocking. 62 shots in 2 games and 0 goals scored. Against Australia, they dominated completely. Against Paraguay, they spent the whole game around the box, even with a man advantage, and still couldn't score. That's beyond bad luck at this point. It's almost an anomaly. And usually these streaks break exactly when nobody expects it. USA have already secured everything. 2 wins, first place guaranteed, 0 pressure. They smashed Paraguay 4-1 and handled Australia 0-2. Under Pochettino, everything is worked. Fast starts, aggressive pressing, early goals, then control. But here's the important detail. Pulisic is out and heavy rotation is very light. That changed the intensity completely. Turkey, despite failing, still create a lot. By acca and pressure stats, they don't look like a 0-point team at all. The finishing just hasn't been there. Against a more relaxed USA side, who are already thinking about the knockout stage, spaces should open. The Americans also will not slow it down, especially with reserve players involved, so the game could become much more open. That's where Turkey can finally strike. USA usually allow chances, especially without full concentration. Turkey have created too much to stay silent forever. They are already out, which actually removes pressure. They can play freely now. That's why for the safe parlay, I'm taking Turkey to score. They've underperformed too much as finishing already. For the wild parlay, 1-2 plus BTTS at 2.34 looks strong. Second parlay, second tick, Paraguay versus Australia. Here I found a very strong safe parlay option and a nice wild angle at solid odds. In my humble opinion, this is one of the stickiest matches of the round, where the cost of mistakes is too high, so caution should dominate. Paraguay had a mixed start. First a brutal 1-4 loss to USA, but then a gritty 1-0 win over Turkey, where they defended for almost the entire second half with 10 men and survived huge pressure. That says a lot about their character and ability to suffer. But they will be without Emeron here, and that's a huge blow. Without him, they lost speed in transitions and creativity. Australia are similar. They beat Turkey 2-0, then lost to USA 0-2 without much resistance. Their attacking numbers are very modest. Even in good games, they don't create much. Popovich builds through defense, 5 at the back, physical battles, and quick counters. It works, but against Paraguay, who also prefer sitting deep, this could easily become a chess match. That's the key here. Neither team likes taking initiative. Both prefer waiting. Australia would be happy with a draw, and Paraguay know a lose could ruin everything. So no one will force it. Expect a packed midfield, lots of faults, long balls, and very little space. Even the head-to-head history supports it. 4 of the last 5 meetings were low scoring. This screams 0-0, 1-0, or maybe 1-1. That's why for the safe parlay, I'm taking under 2.5. For the wild parlay, the draw at 2.2 looks tasty. Third parlay, first pick, Japan versus Sweden. Here I found a very strong safe parlay option and a nice wild pick just under evens. In my opinion, the line still slightly underrates Japan, even though by quality of play they look like one of the most complete teams in the group. Japan have found the riff. First a massive 2-2 draw with Netherlands, where they came back twice without fear, then a complete 4-0 demolition of Tunisia. And what matters is not just the goals, but how they play. High pressing, insane discipline, fast transitions, and smart movement without the ball. This is not chaos, it's very structured system. Everything works. Weather is in form, Kamada is consistent, the midfield controls tempo, and most importantly, the team adapts quickly during games. If it gets ugly, they can sub. If the opponent opens up, they punish immediately. That's exactly why they match up so well against Sweden. Sweden are extremely unstable. They smashed Tunisia 5-1 in the opener and looked dangerous. But then Netherlands exposed their biggest weakness. The defense completely collapses against fast ball movement. 5 goals conceded is not random. It's a structural issue, especially through the central channels. And that's exactly where Japan hurt teams best. Yes, Sweden have strong attacking weapons. Isak, Gyökeres, Ayari, they will create chances. But to get a result, they need to attack, and that means opening spaces. The higher Sweden push, the more comfortable Japan become. That's the key. Japan are simply more balanced, more organized, and tactically sharper right now. That's why for the safe parlay, I'm taking Japan draw no bet. Great protection. For the wild parlay, Japan to win at 1.99 looks very solid. Third parlay, second pick, Tunisia versus Netherlands. Here I found a very strong safe parlay option and a juicy wild pick at tasty odds. In my humble opinion, this match is much more straightforward than the line suggests. I really feel Netherlands can settle this before halftime. Tunisia have completely collapsed. First a painful 1-5 against Sweden, then an immediate coaching change. But even Reynolds hasn't fixed anything. They got destroyed 0-4 by Japan and are now mathematically out. 9 goals conceded in 2 games, the worst in the group. And most importantly, there is zero structure in defense, transitions or attack. Now Tunisia coming to this game with no motivation left, and that's dangerous. Teams in this state often just go through the motions. Against a side like Netherlands, that can end badly. Netherlands, meanwhile, are gaining momentum. First a tough 2-2 against Japan, where they threw away the win. Then a massive 5-1 over Sweden. That's a statement. Commons team found the rhythm, the attack is clicking, and several players are in a great form. Gakpo, Somerville, Brobbey, all scoring. Huge flexibility in attack. Plus, the Dutch still need to secure first place, so there is no room for relaxing. The style matchup is brutal for Tunisia. Netherlands move the ball quickly, overload the wings, and attack the spaces between the lines. Tunisia simply cannot handle the tempo. Sweden and Japan already proved. If the Dutch start aggressively like they did against Sweden, this could be over by halftime. That's why for the safe parlay, I'm taking Netherlands to win plus under 5.5. Huge class gap, only one team with real motivation, and Netherlands don't feel like the kind of team to push for 6 or 7 goals unnecessarily. For the wild parlay, I really like Netherlands -1 in the first half at 2.